and thanks for joining us here, Mark Sanchez. When you watch Patrick Mahomes, he's only in his third year.
Yep.
You guys as quarterbacks have the ability to see things that us regular fans and viewers do not.
Sure.
What makes him so incredibly impressive?
I'll tell you what, in not just the championship game, I think they ran basically like a sprint right option. I mean, one of the oldest plays in football. Joe Montana used to run it, and Bill Walsh used to call it. And Andy Reid is still dialing up this play, and it is covered. They have him dead to rights. It's covered.
Yes.
And he just strings out this play and strings out this play and strings out this play and finally just stops him and Kelsey. They're playing backyard football at times.
Right.
Run to the blue Cadillac and turn around.
Right.
And he throws this ball. I don't even know what you're supposed to say to the defender.
Yeah.
He covered him for 5 seconds.
Right.
Like
perfectly.
Yeah, if you would have told me, hey, you're gonna cover this guy for 5 seconds, yeah, we'll figure it out. Everybody else will figure it out. And they score.
Yeah.
I'm just blown away. And it's guys like him. It's really, you're seeing a changing of the guard, I think.
Yeah.
At the position. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. These kind of guys are taking over the league, and part of it, I think, is more defensive scheme related, but they are taking these plays, these simple play calls that, Hank, drive, sprint option. These are like staples of the West Coast offense. And those are like the beginning. It's almost like taking an SAT and they give you an essay prompt.
Right.
Whatever they're saying in the huddle is just like a starting point. But look out, because these guys can really create. It's impressive.
It's hard to get to the Super Bowl, but a lot of people believe that potentially Patrick Mahomes, and I'll put myself in this category, could be taking over kind of the mantle from Tom Brady, right? And if you look in the AFC, he's only 24 years old. He's already in one Super Bowl. How much better can he get, and do you buy him?
This should be a second.
Yeah, that's right. If they could have lined up on sides, D Ford could have.
One play.
Yeah.
One play.
Do you buy into the idea that he is going to be the face of the NFL for years to come based on what he is right now?
I can't disagree with that. I think that's spot on. I think he's so special with his talent. Just watching his tape, man, you're blown away.
Yeah.
How are you running full speed one way, throwing the ball completely the opposite direction, throwing no lookers? I mean, that kind of stuff is, some of that's just God-given, and some of that is the way they practice, the way they work their scramble drills, the way Andy Reid has programmed him to understand where his receivers are going to be, his anticipation, and then those guys finishing through the whistle. Like, that play's never over. Those receivers never quit. You never see these guys walk off like, oh, he's probably going to get sacked. No, I could get a 50-yard touchdown here. I'm going to keep moving around, and it's like basketball. He's like a really good point guard.
Speaking of like basketball, he's also gotten a lot of reps. When you look at Texas Tech, they couldn't stop anybody on defense, but he got a lot of sort of live reps in a way that, frankly, a lot of college quarterbacks don't.
No doubt.
How much do you think that sort of elevated him to be ready when he took over? Because he's only been a starting quarterback now for his second year.
And being able to sit out for a year, I think, and watch somebody like Alex Smith, who's a very different player than him.
Right.
But just to learn from him, to observe, study, just figure out how this whole thing kind of works. I think if you can afford to do it on your team, and it's not every team. I played right away. Stafford played right away. There's plenty of reasons to let your young guy play.
Right.
Dak, all those guys. But if you can afford to do it, there's nothing wrong with letting a young guy sit and watch and learn. But there's no substitute for repetition. There's no substitute for game reps. That is, you can't simulate that in scout team. I know everybody tries, but you can't.
We're talking to Mark Sanchez. How did you end up at SC?
Ooh. I looked
it's probably a question you haven't been asked in a while.
I haven't been asked in a while. Let's see. My final few schools were Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas. Mac Brown, that was one of the toughest no. I mean, all three of them were really tough no's.
You were legitimately
loved
all of those.
Oh, yeah. I was in the Horseshoe with Jim Tressel. They had the band there. They had my jersey there. They had my high school highlight tape on the big screen in the Ohio State Stadium, in the Horseshoe. I was like, whoa.
How do you tell those guys?
Until he said the only thing, if he wouldn't have told me, I wouldn't have even thought about it.
Yeah.
But he said, it's been great. The last 10 years, we play Michigan last game of the year right around Thanksgiving. And, the last 10 years it's been snowing every game. Is that great or what? And I was like, whoa, that's not so great.
Yeah. And if he hadn't said that, you wouldn't have
honestly,
thought it. Yeah.
I might have.
Because a lot of times the visits are like September, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
the weather's decent.
Oh, we were June.
Yeah, they usually get guys in Big Ten schools up when the weather's like when the summer.
And I didn't think about it. My dad's like, why do you want to go to Texas? I was like, oh, Dad, those all-white jerseys are so cool.
Yeah.
Like you're 18 years old. You don't know. You just want to go play ball.
So if he hadn't said that, you might have gone to.
I would have I was seriously considering it, and we got to eat with Eric Parseghian at Notre Dame, and
right.
I mean, you're just like
when you're
blown
17
away.
years old, that's crazy, right?
You're just
it's crazy when you're an adult, but
blown
for 17,
away that wow. You think whatever happens on that visit is going to be like every day.
Right.
And that's not reality. And it's hard to tell somebody that's 17, 18 years old that that's not the way things work. You're so enamored with everything.
What was the biggest transition? So you end up out at SC, which is, I mean, you're at the time.
Ed Ogeron, man. He
so were you rooting for him?
The heck out of me.
Were you rooting for him?
I got to go see him down in Baton Rouge. I started doing the college gig for ESPN. And ABC, and I went down to visit during one of their bye weeks, right after they played Vanderbilt, I believe. And I thought I was on a recruiting trip again.
He still was selling.
It was John Robinson. It was Ed Ogeron. It was Kenichi Udeze. I mean, there are so many USC people there. And I hadn't been there 5 minutes before Ed Ogeron takes me in his office, hands me a pair of 35-pound dumbbells, and we start doing curls in his office. And he said, hey, we got to wake up. We got to go, And he's just all over me. He said, how's your dad doing? Is he still fighting fires? I mean, he remembered everything. And Mama, how's Mama doing? I was so impressed. I hadn't talked to him.
Considering the number of guys that he recruits, that he has that recall for like your personal life situation.
And I hadn't talked to him in 14 years, maybe. Yeah. I was just absolutely blown away, just floored. And then we're hitting these curls. I'm about to just
How many curls did you do?
Oh, we had to do 20, and I was literally just noodle arms. I got nothing left. And he goes, hey, don't forget the shoulders. People forget the shoulders. Then we start hitting the military press. I was like, dude, I'm about to fall out right now. And the only reason I couldn't is because of Ed's energy. It was just his energy and his juice and his fire and passion, and I just kept going. And then the next day I was just dying. Because this was like the first month I'd been working, hadn't worked out a bunch, and so didn't have enough oikos,
Yeah, right. I'm going to ask you about that in a sec. But so what was he like recruiting you?
He was the best. He said, we're going to win the national championship. We're going to win Rose Bowls. Every year you're here. You're going to be one of the biggest faces in L.A. across the country, potentially win the Heisman Trophy. And then he said, I'm going to make you some gumbo, and we're going to celebrate. And I was like, Coach, what's gumbo? He said, don't you worry about that.
What do you think would have happened if SC had hired him?
Hopefully something like
what happened at LSU.
But I just feel like sometimes those things have to happen in your journey. And I think that's kind of the way he explained it to me.
Yeah.
Is that not everything's perfect, not everything's storybook.
Right.
But it kind of ends up becoming that if you let it.
Yeah.
And as much he poured his heart and soul into SC now. He gave everything he had and didn't take anything from SC. You know, he simply gave. And so he felt a certain way when he kind of got booted out of there. Yeah, he was just hurt and didn't feel like that was fair. Didn't feel like, that was the reciprocated feelings that were fair. And so he packed up and moved out and moved on. And then he ends up with this storybook season at home, his school, his kind of kids.
I was down there. It was an incredible scene.
Unbelievable. I mean, he's doing an interview with the Holly Rowe right before the game.
Yeah.
And he's looking at me, giving me a nod, and I'm like, Coach, chill. And then as soon as it's over, this is like right before the game, he comes over, gives me a huge hug, tells me all the USC people that are going to be at the game. And he's just, he's on. And it's so much like Pete Carroll. And he learned so much from Pete Carroll. It was great. He had me talk to the team. I'm like, Coach, I'm just here like in the shadows in the background. Like, this isn't about
amazing.
me. Hey, you know how Eddie O does it. Come on, let's go. You're talking to me. It was awesome.
Did Odell give you money too?
Pesos.
Tell me about Oikos.
We're here with Oikos 000. And basically they have a great commercial coming out about NFL players and what powers them. And if you're going to be powerful, you got to have glutes, And
yes.
so I was like, well, I still work out and stuff, but
yeah.
I think they were thinking of different plays that involve glutes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I still don't get it. What do you guys need from me? So I'm excited to be partnered with them, and I know Dak Prescott's in it, Saquon Barkley's in it, but I still work out, and that's the place where I get my protein. No added sugar, no BS. It's all good stuff.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, my man.
Appreciate you.
Enjoy the game. What does it mean for Miami, by the way, to have the Super Bowl?
Incredible. They do it right here, man.
Yeah, it is amazing,
it's
isn't
really,
it?
The last Super Bowl, I think I went to the one in Dallas, but the one where was Peyton, the Saints won here, right?
Yeah, I
the
think
Saints
that's right.
won here
Yeah.
in 2009 or whatever. I think that was my rookie year. That was one of my favorite ones. You're coming off a crushing loss in the championship game, but this town, man, they really do it right.
Clay Travis here. Hope all of you are enjoying Fox Sports Radio on YouTube. Encourage you to like and subscribe to all of our videos to make sure you don't miss any of the excellence. Thanks, and enjoy.